They didn't come to hear wisdom. They came to watch Muhammad Ali defend himself. The room was tight with expectation. One accusation after another. Cameras waiting for fireworks. Everyone knew what Ali could do with his words, with his presence, with his power. One sentence from him could end a career. One reaction could turn the moment into chaos. But Ali didn't give them that. He stood there, listening, calm, unrushed, almost still. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. Instead of protecting his own name, Muhammad Ali protected someone else's dignity. That single decision turned a confrontation into a lesson not about boxing, but about strength, faith, and what it truly means to stand tall when the world is watching. This is the story of the moment Ali didn't fight back, and the 7 powerful lessons it left behind. In that moment, Muhammad Ali had every reason to strike back. The words aimed at him were sharp, public, and deliberate. Cameras were rolling. The world was watching. If anyone had earned the right to respond forcefully, it was him. But Ali understood something most people never learn. Real strength isn't proven when you react, it's revealed when you don't. Ali had mastered violence in the ring. He knew exactly how much damage he could cause, not just with his fists, but with his tongue. A single sentence from him could embarrass a man for life. He could have turned the room against his accuser in seconds. Everyone expected it. Everyone waited for it. Instead, Ali slowed himself down. That pause wasn't weakness. It was discipline. Self-control is harder than aggression because it requires awareness. It demands that you swallow pride, silence, ego, and resist the instinct to protect your image at all costs. Ali chose restraint because he knew anger hands power to the other person. The moment you explode, you are no longer leading, you're reacting. By controlling his emotions, Ali controlled the moment. The tension shifted. The attack lost its energy. The room realized something important. Ali wasn't being tested, he was testing everyone else. True strength doesn't announce itself. It doesn't rush. It doesn't need approval. It stands firm, calm, and unmovable, even under pressure. Ali proved that the strongest man in the room is not the loudest, not the most aggressive, but the one who can master himself when every nerve is screaming to fight back. The attack was aimed directly at Muhammad Ali. His name, his choices, his character. Most people in that position would narrow their focus. Protect yourself first. Clear your name. Win the argument. That's human nature. That's ego speaking. But Ali saw something most people missed. He looked past the accusation and noticed the person delivering it, the tension in their voice, the desperation behind the words. This wasn't strength attacking strength, it was insecurity trying to survive by tearing someone else down. And Ali made a choice that stunned the room. He shifted the spotlight away from himself. Instead of defending his reputation, Ali defended the dignity of the person attacking him. He softened the moment. He reframed the conflict. Without excusing the attack, he refused to humiliate the attacker. That decision revealed who Ali truly was. It takes confidence to protect others when you are under fire. It takes inner security to let go of the urge to prove yourself. Ali didn't need to win approval. He already knew his worth. By defending someone else, Ali disarmed the hostility. The attack lost its target. The aggressor was left exposed, not as an enemy, but as a human being struggling under pressure. That's real leadership. Anyone can defend their ego. Very few can defend another person's humanity while their own is being questioned. Ali showed that character isn't proven when things are fair. It's revealed when you have the power to strike and choose compassion instead. Before Muhammad Ali said a single word, he paused. Not a short pause, not an awkward one. A deliberate, uncomfortable silence. In a room built for noise cameras, questions, tension, that silence became powerful. People shifted in their seats. The energy changed. What had been an attack suddenly felt exposed, hanging in the air with nowhere to land. Ali understood something rare. Silence forces others to face themselves. If he had responded immediately, the moment would have turned into a verbal fight. 2 voices competing, 2 egos clashing, noise canceling out meaning. But by waiting, Ali removed the rhythm his attacker expected. Silence broke their momentum. That pause wasn't uncertainty, it was intention. Ali was choosing when to speak, not reacting to pressure. In that space, emotions cooled, attention sharpened, and the room leaned in. Silence made everyone listen before he even spoke. And when Ali finally did talk, his words carried weight, because silence is a form of control. It says, "I'm not rushed. I'm not shaken. I'm thinking." It turns the spotlight inward, forcing the aggressor to hear their own words echo back at them. Most people fear silence because it feels like weakness. Ali used it as strength. He showed that you don't always need more words to win a moment. Sometimes, saying nothing at all is what gives your voice its power. In that moment, Muhammad Ali could have won. He could have dismantled the argument piece by piece. He could have exposed the hypocrisy, the ignorance, the weakness behind the attack. He could have walked away victorious, leaving the other person embarrassed in front of everyone. That's what most people define as winning. But Ali was playing a different game. He understood something deeper. Not every battle is worth conquering, because some victories cost you more than they give. Winning an argument might satisfy your ego for a moment, but it rarely earns lasting respect. Ali didn't want a short-term win. He wanted something permanent, so he chose not to dominate the exchange. Instead of overpowering the moment, he elevated it. Ali allowed the other person to speak. He didn't interrupt. He didn't rush to correct or humiliate. He let the words stand on their own, and in doing so, something unexpected happened. The attack began to collapse under its own weight. Because when you don't fight back, people listen more closely. The room started paying attention not to who was louder, but to who was calmer. Not to who was aggressive, but to who was grounded. Ali's restraint created contrast, and that contrast revealed the imbalance. One side was emotional, defensive, tense. The other was steady, composed, and secure. Respect shifted silently. Ali understood that respect is not demanded, it's felt. And it's often earned not by what you say, but by what you refuse to say. By choosing dignity over dominance, he showed that he wasn't threatened by criticism. He didn't need validation from the room. He wasn't there to prove his superiority. That confidence is disarming. People expect power to be loud. They expect authority to interrupt. They expect winners to crush opposition. When Ali did none of those things, it rewired expectations. The absence of aggression made his presence stronger. And here's the key truth Ali embodied. When you try too hard to win, you reveal insecurity. When you don't need to win, you reveal strength. By not chasing victory, Ali claimed something greater moral authority. The audience didn't walk away thinking about who lost the argument. They walked away thinking about who carried themselves like a leader, who showed control, who acted with class when chaos would have been easier. Ali sacrificed the satisfaction of being right in order to be respected. That's a lesson most people learn too late. You don't have to respond to every challenge. You don't have to correct every insult. You don't have to prove yourself to people who are already decided. Sometimes the strongest move is to let the moment pass without trying to conquer it. Because battles end, arguments fade, but respect, once earned, stays. Muhammad Ali didn't win that moment by overpowering someone else. He won it by standing tall without needing to. And in doing so, he reminded everyone watching that true greatness isn't about defeating others. It's about mastering yourself and honoring the room you're in. That's how respect is built. Quietly, deliberately, and without force. What held Muhammad Ali steady in moments like that wasn't confidence alone. Confidence can be shaken. Reputation can be attacked. Applause can vanish overnight. Ali's calm came from something far deeper: faith. Not the kind of faith you perform for others. Not the kind you use as a shield in arguments. But the quiet, internal kind that shapes how you see yourself when no one is cheering. In rooms where tension thickened and judgment hovered, Ali didn't look outward for strength. He didn't scan faces to see who was with him or against him. He didn't calculate how to win the crowd. He stood firmly inside himself, anchored to a belief system that existed long before the cameras were turned on. That anchor made all the difference. Faith gave Ali clarity about who he was and who he wasn't. When people attacked his decisions, his beliefs, or his refusal to conform, they were trying to force him into a role they understood. They wanted him predictable, reactive, defiant in the way they expected. But Ali didn't belong to their expectations. Faith freed him from the exhausting need to explain himself to everyone. He understood that not all misunderstandings are meant to be corrected in real time. Some truths unfold slowly. Some convictions are proven not by words, but by endurance. That understanding gave him patience under pressure. When the room felt hostile, Ali didn't interpret it as a threat to his identity. He saw it as a test of his commitment. Would he abandon his principles to protect his image? Would he dilute his beliefs to regain comfort? He never did. Because faith teaches you something powerful. Your worth is not voted on by the room. Ali answered to something higher than public opinion. And once you answer to a higher standard, lower judgments lose their authority. Criticism still exists, but it no longer defines you. Mockery may sting, but it doesn't destabilize you. That's why Ali could remain calm while others grew tense. Faith also reshaped how he viewed his opponents. Instead of seeing them purely as enemies, Ali often saw fear, confusion, and pressure driving their behavior. That perspective didn't make him weak, it made him wise. Faith allowed him to separate the attack from the person delivering it. That separation is crucial. Without faith, criticism feels personal. Every challenge becomes a threat. Every insult demands retaliation. But faith creates distance between who you are and what is being said about you. It gives you room to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. Ali used that space masterfully. His faith didn't erase anger, it governed it. It didn't deny pain, it put it in context. It reminded him that this moment, no matter how intense, was not the full story of his life. That's why he could choose restraint without feeling defeated. Faith also gave Ali humility without insecurity. He knew he didn't have all the answers. He knew he would be misunderstood, but he also trusted that staying true to his convictions mattered more than winning approval in the moment. That trust is rare. Most people crumble when their beliefs are challenged publicly. They either grow defensive or retreat. Ali did neither. Faith allowed him to stand still while the world moved around him. In a culture obsessed with instant validation, faith gave Ali the courage to wait, to let time reveal truth, to let character speak louder than arguments, to let consistency outlast controversy. Faith didn't make Ali passive. It made him rooted. Rooted people don't bend with every gust of opinion. They don't snap under pressure. They don't chase acceptance at the cost of integrity. They know who they are, even when the room tries to tell them otherwise. That was Ali's quiet power. And that's the lesson. When your center is built on faith, it cannot be shaken by applause or attack. You may stand alone. You may be misunderstood. You may face moments where the room turns cold. But you won't lose yourself trying to survive the moment. Muhammad Ali carried many titles in his life: champion, icon, legend. But beneath all of them was something stronger, a man anchored by belief, standing firm when everything around him demanded he move. That's what made him unbreakable. When hostility enters a room, it comes with an expectation. It expects resistance. It expects anger. It expects a fight. That's how conflict survives, by feeding on reaction. Muhammad Ali understood this better than most. He had spent his life around aggression, both physical and verbal. He knew the rhythm of confrontation. He knew how easily one sharp word could ignite another. He knew how quickly pride could turn a tense moment into open war. And that's exactly why his choice of compassion was so powerful. When Ali was confronted publicly, the attacker came armed with hostility. Their tone was sharp, their posture defensive, their words designed to provoke a response that would justify their own anger. They wanted Ali to meet them at the same emotional level. He refused. Instead of escalating, Ali softened the moment, not by apologizing for who he was, not by retreating, but by acknowledging the humanity of the person in front of him. Compassion is dangerous to hostility because it leaves it with nowhere to go. Anger needs an enemy. Bitterness needs resistance. Hostility needs friction. When Ali responded with calm understanding instead of aggression, the emotional fuel disappeared. The attack suddenly felt excessive. The imbalance became obvious. One person was fighting. The other was standing still. That contrast changed everything. Compassion doesn't mean agreeing with the attack. Ali never surrendered his convictions. He didn't dilute his beliefs to keep the peace. What he did was far more powerful. He refused to reduce the other person to their worst behavior. That takes strength. Most people respond to hostility by hardening themselves. They raise walls. They sharpen their words. They protect their pride at all costs. But Ali understood that walls create longer wars, not resolution. Compassion, on the other hand, interrupts the cycle. By responding with empathy, Ali forced the aggressor to confront something uncomfortable, their own behavior. Without a fight to justify their anger, The hostility began to look misplaced. The room felt it. The energy shifted. What had started as an attack slowly turned into an exposure. Not because Ali embarrassed them, but because compassion removed their armor. There is a deep psychological truth here. People often attack not from strength, but from fear. Fear of losing relevance, fear of losing control, fear of being wrong in public. Ali sensed that fear and chose not to exploit it. He could have crushed it. He could have humiliated the person. He could have made an example out of them. Instead, he chose mercy. That choice elevated him above the conflict. Compassion also protected Ali himself. Hostility invites you to become someone you're not. It tempts you to abandon your values for the satisfaction of winning a moment. Ali knew that reacting with anger would leave a mark not on his opponent, but on his own spirit. So he chose to remain whole. Compassion allowed him to leave the moment without bitterness, without regret, without needing to replay the exchange in his mind later. He didn't carry the conflict forward because he never let it inside him in the first place. That's freedom. In public confrontations, compassion also has a ripple effect. It changes how the audience perceives everything. People don't remember the words as much as they remember the tone. They sense who is grounded and who is rattled, who is secure, and who is searching for validation. Ali's compassion made his opponent look smaller without ever trying to. And that's the paradox. When you respond with compassion, you don't lose power, you redefine it. Power stops being about dominance and becomes about influence. Ali influenced the room by refusing to mirror its tension. He became the emotional leader, not by commanding attention, but by calming it. The hostility didn't just fail, it dissolved. This is why compassion is not weakness. It requires emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and courage. It demands that you trust your own strength enough to not prove it through aggression. Ali trusted himself. He trusted that dignity would outlast noise. He trusted that calm would outshine anger. He trusted that humanity would speak louder than hostility. And it did. The lesson is simple, but difficult. When you meet hostility with compassion, you take control of the moment without raising your voice. You break the cycle that others are trapped in. You turn confrontation into reflection. Muhammad Ali didn't disarm hostility by overpowering it. He disarmed it by refusing to carry it. And in doing so, he showed that the highest form of strength is not the ability to hurt, but the discipline to heal a moment when everyone expects you to fight. Most people think legacy is built in the loud moments, the championships, the headlines, the victories everyone applauds. Muhammad Ali had plenty of those. The knockouts, the belts, the bravado, those moments made him famous. But fame and legacy are not the same thing. Fame is instant. Legacy is permanent. Ali understood that his true legacy would not be decided in the ring alone, but in moments when no one expected greatness. Moments like this one, there was no trophy on the table, no crowd chanting his name, no referee counting to 10. Just pressure, accusation, a room watching closely to see what kind of man he would be. And Ali knew something most people never realize. Quiet moments are where character leaves its deepest mark. Anyone can look strong when they are winning. Anyone can be generous when the crowd is cheering. But when you are challenged unfairly, misunderstood publicly, or pushed to defend yourself, that is where legacy is written. Ali chose restraint when reaction would have been easier. He chose dignity when dominance would have been praised. He chose meaning over momentary satisfaction. Those choices didn't make headlines the next day, but they shaped how he would be remembered forever. Legacy is built in decisions no one forces you to make. Ali wasn't required to be compassionate. He wasn't obligated to stay calm. He wasn't expected to protect anyone but himself. But he understood that every public moment is also a private test. A test of whether you will act according to your values or according to your emotions. And values, when lived consistently, outlive applause. What made Ali's quiet moments so powerful is that they revealed alignment. The same man who spoke about faith, dignity, and humanity lived those beliefs when it cost him something, when it would have been easier to perform than to stand still. That consistency is rare. Many people speak beautifully about principles, until those principles are inconvenient. Ali didn't abandon his when the pressure rose. He didn't trade long-term respect for short-term validation. That's why his legacy feels heavy. People may debate his opinions. They may question his decisions. But very few question his integrity. Because integrity isn't proven by being right, it's proven by being true. Ali's quiet strength told the world something powerful. Greatness is not just how you act when everyone is watching. It's how you act when the moment tempts you to become smaller. He could have humiliated someone and walked away feeling victorious. Instead, he walked away knowing he had not compromised himself. That knowledge stays with you longer than any applause ever could. Legacy also lives in what you teach without preaching. Ali didn't lecture the room about morality. He didn't explain why restraint mattered. He simply lived it. And people felt it. Those watching didn't just see a man avoiding conflict. They saw an example of how to carry power responsibly. They saw that strength doesn't have to be loud to be undeniable. That dignity doesn't need permission. That humanity can exist even in confrontation. Those impressions stay. Years later, people may forget the exact words spoken that day. They may forget who attacked him or why, but they will remember how Ali made them feel. Calm, humbled, moved, reflective. That's legacy. Legacy is emotional memory. It's the feeling people carry forward when they think of your name. And Ali's quiet moments shape that feeling more than any punch ever did. In a world obsessed with performance, Ali showed the value of presence. In a culture addicted to reaction, he demonstrated the power of intention. In moments where ego begged for expression, he chose principle. And that choice echoed far beyond the room. The final lesson is this: your greatest impact will often come from moments no one expects to be historic. Moments where there is nothing to gain and everything to lose. Moments that test who you are when titles, roles, and applause are stripped away. Muhammad Ali passed those tests not with force but with faith, restraint, and humanity. That's why his legacy endures. Not because he was the loudest, not because he was the strongest, but because when it mattered most, he chose to be the best version of himself quietly, deliberately, and without needing recognition. And that kind of legacy never fades. They expected Muhammad Ali to defend himself. He didn't. And that choice, quiet, controlled, and deliberate, is why this moment still matters. Long after the noise faded, long after the accusations were forgotten, what remained was the example. A reminder that strength isn't always loud, that power doesn't need to prove itself, and that dignity can change a room without raising a voice. Ali showed us that the greatest victories don't always come from winning the fight. They come from mastering yourself when it would be easier to strike back. So the question isn't what you would do in the ring. The question is what you do when you're challenged unfairly, when your ego is tested, when the world is watching. Because in those moments, you're not just reacting, you're building your legacy. This was Ali versus the world.